Hello, my friends, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone that's watching the PowerTalk Livestream. I'm really happy to be here. This month, we are having two things that are really happening and that we need to bring the attention to a lot of people. First, it's breast cancer awareness, and the other one is domestic violence awareness. So with me, I have an amazing person. Her name is Vanessa Lisbeth, and she's going to be talking about the 4 red flags to identify domestic violence. Now, Vanessa has experienced domestic violence herself, and it's something this is one of her first times coming on, so it's very raw. So we're going to ask that you're all very compassionate and patient with us today. So thank you, Vanessa, for being here. I am delighted that you said yes
No,
to Power Talk.
thank you for having me. Definitely not going to be easy to kind of go through it, but I'm open to it. I'm ready.
Yes. And one of the conversations that you and I were having a few minutes ago, and I think we've had it throughout some of your lifetime, is because Vanessa's also my niece. And so it is kind of hard because I've been not only her aunt, but I consider myself her coach and her mother and her friend. And sometimes we've clashed so many times, but because we have this deep relationship, it could be kind of raw and hard for us. So be patient with us. Now, Vanessa, today we're going to be talking about the 4 red flags. Why do you think that we should be talking about this topic this month?
Because there's so many people out there that may be living it and are just not accepting their reality. I know because I was in it for almost 10 years. And there's others that know about it, but just feel like there is no hope anymore and they just want to give up, which is why we have high suicides, high just mental conflict, depression. It's at its all-time high because
Mhm, mhm. It does affect many, many women and men.
Mhm.
Men are also experiencing domestic violence in so many ways. So I know that this happens because I know you experienced it in one way and I experienced it in the verbal abuse. There was a lot of verbal and mental abuse. And we just want to tell people out there that it's not just the physical, like the punching and the hitting and the strangulation, but the words and the mental abuse is big. Like, what is one of the flags that you want to talk about? Like, what do these women or men have to look for?
one of the major ones that I refused to see was the family and friend isolation. Um, I mean, sometimes give them the benefit of the doubt because we may think and like see it from their perspective of them not being liked or accepted by our family and friends, right? For one reason or another. Um, but it's because in reality, we're not really seeing the person for who they really are because we're in love with this person. We
Mhm,
love them dearly. That love can be very blinding at times and it can just go south. Um,
mhm.
you would just end up in isolation completely from everyone.
And why do you think that they create this isolation for you or for the people that they're with? Why do you think they want to seclude them and keep them for themselves?
One, because they themselves may just struggle with abandonment issues themselves to where they just want to cling on to one person and just take control over them since they've never had any type of control of anything in their lives.
Mhm.
So I think that's a major trigger and can cause that. Um, man.
Yeah, yeah. And I could see that because I've always heard that abusers have been abused or have been neglected themselves. So I can see how that pattern can continue from generations to generations if it's not prevented. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's something huge. So what would be like the second one?
The second one is just them victimizing themselves in the situation, making us feel like we're the ones that did wrong, that we made the mistakes, when in reality, it's the complete opposite.
Mhm.
Making scenario like just switching, trying to switch the scenarios around when the reality was, I mean, something completely different to what they're building in their mind, just because they don't want to accept that they are wrong. They think they're always right, and that's
Mhm. Mhm. And you know, I mean, I even experienced it where they make you feel guilty, and then you even question. Like, I remember questioning myself, like, maybe I am wrong, maybe I did do this, or and you just doubt yourself, and they just kind of bring you in to sometimes even accepting, like, oh yeah, I messed up, like it was me.
that goes into the manipulation tactics, because they know what your weakness is. They know that you love them, that they'll just start switching it around like, no, you're the one that did me wrong. So you need to come and apologize to me and fix things. And it's just, that's where the whole mental and emotional abuse takes place. And we don't realize it at the very beginning. But
Mhm.
as time passes by, the anxieties, the depression start to build up internally till we explode. And it's just,
Mhm.
there's no
Yeah.
way.
I know we're talking about the four flags to identify domestic violence, but then before we go move on to the next two, how do you think it impacted you, like your whole being?
I
Like, what were some of the side effects or
was,
emotional effects?
I was in the darkest place that I could have never imagined to be in. My anxiety and my depression levels skyrocketed. I had to start taking medication for it. And like, I felt like I was walking on eggshells. Like, it really messed with my mental completely. And it affected not just me, but those around me, my work, everything, because is it's just a buildup from the years. Even
Mhm.
if it is just for a small period of time that people might experience it, but it is a buildup, and it like literally was driving me insane. I didn't know.
Mhm. Right, right. Because it even bleeds into your work, right? Like,
I lost one of my jobs, got affected by it, and I ended up having to leave it because of my situation. And that just affects my stability in the long run, you know?
mhm,
So
mhm.
that definitely.
Right. And did he ever prevent you from going to work or?
Constantly, yes. So prevented me from going to work. And then when I was at work, any breaks that I had, it was like I had to be on the call, on a call with him through my 15-minute breaks, through my hour lunch. It didn't matter. There was no really time to breathe, because if I was at work, it for him it was as if I wasn't there to work. I was there to mingle and meet other people.
Mhm, mhm,
But then goes back to abandonment issues internally that they will never admit to. But yes, yes, it definitely affected my job.
mhm. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna just kind of put here what we're talking about so that people that are online, they can kind of connect with us here, because we are talking about the four flags to identify domestic violence, and this is something very serious, and we're wanting to bring a lot of awareness to men and women because it does happen to both.
Yes,
um, and even if you feel that you are the one that's manipulating the situation, like, try to get help, because I know that these people do fall in love with us. They love us, but
boundaries.
they don't know the boundaries. They don't know um how they're hurting and affecting us, right? And themselves.
Yep.
So, what are the other, what's number three, the third flag, red flag?
When they start building insecurities within their partner, right? Um, I'm the only person that's going to love you.
Mm,
You're Nobody else really cares about you, which is why they did this, and that. Like they'll just make a list, and then we reflect on it, and we're like, you know what, maybe he is right. And
Mm-hmm.
then making you feel like you're not good enough or you're not doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
So that those insecurities just build up and are like, okay, well, nobody else is going to want me. So for the fear of loss, right, and being alone, we just stay in the situation. We decide to stay because we're like, you know what, they're right. Who else is going to want me? What, I don't have a way out. This is my only option. But it's not true.
Mm-hmm. And then many times when you do decide to leave, and then you're you go back. There's many times that people go back and they go back because I know I did it myself. I was hoping that this person would change, and that's why I would stick around, because I was like, if I help millions of people and other people, why can't I help the person I love? So I kept coming back and coming back, hoping this person would change. So what was your experience?
Mine was very similar. And I feel like I consider myself an empath because I'm very empathetic. I feel like I need to help everybody that comes in my path.
Mhm.
And then especially like if I love this person, I was like, there's hope, right? There is good times, right? But then again, the dark times do overweigh it
Mhm.
excessively. And I I just I don't even know how many times I kept going back throughout those 9 years. And I regretted it every time till it got to the point where I had no other choice. And it got to where this person had to be taken into custody, right?
Mhm.
Because I just said enough was enough.
Mhm.
And the biggest part was when he had to use my son against me. So that was my breaking point. And I was like, there is no more control. I'm taking my power back.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And I think that's one of the hardest things, is taking that power back and really um, stepping into that power, because we know it's there. We just can't find it. Like you said, you're in the dark. We're in the dark and you can't find it. And what is it that you did to begin to kind of find your way? I know that your son was one of the breaking points, but what was one of the things that you did to kind of really step into it?
I just kept doing a lot of self reflection and then started writing down everything that we had experienced from the beginning, what kept triggering us in the relationship. And I started just putting the patterns together. And I also felt, actually, my counselor or therapist was the one that actually brought it up to me, like your body was going into post traumatic stress. Because I was literally shutting down. The way a normal woman body should function completely went away for the longest time. And I was stagnant. And I was just like, this is killing me.
Mhm.
And there's no way I can not be here for my children. Right. So it was unacceptable at that point. And I was just like, and I can't do it anymore. And all that anxiety built up it was, I felt like if I didn't cut things then, there was, there was no point. Like there was not going to be any way for me to get out of this. And if I kept going.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that a lot of times accidents happen, like they don't mean to hurt us, but then because it gets so intense, they actually do hurt us physically. And so in many cases it's very serious,
Yeah.
because they have no control over what's their emotions, what's
And
taking over.
yes, those moments, I mean, it can go from 0 to 100. You can be having just a normal conversation, and then by the end of it, they're on you, hurting you physically, apart from all the mental back and forth, emotional abuse that was already done.
Mhm.
But at one point, we just have to say, this can't happen anymore.
Mhm.
And we have to find a way out. It's not the easiest thing to do. It definitely is not. I had to figure out like smart ways to have a second phone at times just as a backup because I didn't know what was going to happen next.
Mhm.
Um, I was away from all of you, my family,
Mhm.
even when you needed me the most or when others needed me the most. And that also like impacted me completely.
Mhm. Yeah. It's really hard. So what's the fourth one that
The major red flag is, I mean, just, I guess I can say that abandonment because it all comes back from how we might have grown up. It's like an internalized issue that we already may be carrying, which is why we come across people like this.
Mhm.
Like for myself, feeling abandoned from a very young age, on and off consistently, like that was another red flag that I never accepted. And
Mhm.
don't accept, like, oh no, that's not true. No, it is.
Mhm.
Feel- Being alone is something that not a lot of people can do. And
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
hated it. I never want to be alone. But in the last few months that I've actually pulled myself away completely, I've been able to just transform my whole energy. And I've been pushed to really like look inside myself to see everything that I've lived and like just question everything and see where I actually want to go. And I've been writing everything down. And it's not easy to actually get to this point. I would literally go to my truck and just cry for hours at times and write everything that just kept coming into my mind.
Mhm.
Like the different scenarios that I went through, just I kept writing everything. And as I wrote it, I would forgive myself for being in the situation and then also forgiving that person because if I can't forgive myself, then I can't really forgive anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's powerful because I've been this whole week, it's very interesting that you're talking about forgiveness. I always journal. I journal a lot and I use my cards and I always pull a little card and I'm like, okay, I want to activate forgiveness. Like, what do I need to activate forgiveness? And I pull the card and then I meditate on it. I write about it. And this whole week, it's been about forgiveness. And yesterday, I walked the dogs and then I just turned on music because I'm always meditating. I never really listen to music. And I came home and I was dancing and I just felt really good. Like there was this happiness within inside me when I started working with forgiveness. So what I felt that to activate forgiveness, I had to have movement and dance, right? And then today I continued with what do I need to do to activate forgiveness? And it was clearing energy. So in my office, I moved a table and then it just felt like this opened up space. And I don't know, but I've been feeling awesome, you know,
Yeah.
an amazing experience. And I know that you're also an intuitive relationship coach. Let's
Yeah.
own that. And you also work with cards to reflect on a daily basis and journal. So what is your experience with that forgiveness and
With
journal?
forgiveness and journaling, I mean, I just recently started with um, cards, but it definitely has helped me actually awaken another side of me that I've pushed aside forever. But in doing so on a daily basis, I've just been able to awaken to more things that I didn't really realize about myself that I was actually internalizing. And also bringing back how this back to the abandonment, like I would call my dad every year on my birthday crying and angry. And I've been writing about that because I'm like, this is a main thing that has led me into the situation that I experienced,
Mhm, mhm,
right? But being able to write about everything has just opened up a whole new path for me. Like I am literally determined to put the word out there and give hope to people because I feel like that's what I need to do.
mhm.
Um, because we don't all have anyone to speak with or actually let our emotions out. And sometimes just hearing somebody talk about what they've experienced helps us come out of it.
Yeah, yeah. And I know, like, those of you that are listening, like, um, I am Vanessa's aunt, so I annoy her a lot. And one of the annoyances that I've done in her life is like pushed her, like, you need to do recordings, you need to do videos, you need to express yourself, you need to, journal, like pushing her and pushing her. And I know that annoyed her. And then when she started doing it on her own, it was like, yay. And it was like, I knew it because you're on my vision board. Her and her kids and my kids are on the vision board that they're going to be recording and writing, and then seeing her now just coming out of her shell and out of that cocoon, because now you're turning into this beautiful butterfly. And I was telling her I could see the difference in her energy, where before I wanted her to see me. I wanted her, like, not to see me, but to have like the conversation that we're having right now. Like, that's what I wanted to see. And I'm so, like, you don't know how happy I am. I am like, this is the best gift you could ever give me and yourself and millions of people that are out there. So what we're going to ask for those of you that are going to watch the replay is that you share, and you share it with people that are going through domestic violence, and we have your heart, and we know where you're at because we've experienced it. Vanessa in a more intense way, and I experienced it in another way, which was verbal. It was intense too because she lived it through me. She lived it as a child, and then she lived it as a grown-up. So I do want to say that these are patterns that we need to break from our kids because they will live it, unfortunately, if we don't break it. So be aware. I always tell people, Vanessa, like, name it. Name it. Name the monster. What's the monster you're fearing? What is it that you're seeing? Like, name it, because once you name it and you have the awareness, then there's another phase that comes along which begins to heal. And I know that you've been healing through your journaling and making your videos and talking, and
Definitely been a lot more expressive to just anybody that is in my life right now. I've been more outspoken than I have ever dared to be in my life, and I'm not going to change it ever again.
Mhm, mhm.
Because if somebody is going to be in my life, whether it's friends, family, relationship wise, you're going to know me completely. And if you're not, like, if we're clashing, and if I see the red flags again, then it's not gonna there's no way I can put myself in that situation again, especially for the kids.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you do have kids and the kids get impacted in so many ways, as you know, because you experienced it with me. So, anything else that you have to say to our listeners?
Just don't lose hope, and honestly, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way out of everything. No matter what the situation is, you will find a way out. And if you feel like you don't have anybody, just find someone that, even if it's a stranger, just reach out, because you never know.
Mhm.
Like club, our new house.
Yes. And then reach out. Vanessa will be creating a community. And she does videos on TikTok. And where's your social media? Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I mean, you can reach out to me at anywhere, and I'm happy to reach out. You can DM me directly.
Yes. Okay. And and for those of you that don't know me, I am Dr. B. People know me as Dr. B. I'm Angelica Benavides, the ultimate legacy builder. And basically, what I do is I help share your story. If you have a story that you want to share and you really want to impact and make a difference, then let's connect, let's talk, let's bring you on the show so that you can share your message, you can inspire, empower, and give hope to people that are waiting for your message. So Vanessa, I really want to thank you for saying yes, and don't stop, your radiance, because there's so much light, and your light will give light to other people that are in dark places like you were and I was at one point. So keep shining,
Will.
and thank you so much for saying yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Hugs to everybody, and share, like, and comment, and ask any questions that you like. This is Power Talk live streaming with Dr. B. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye. Mhm.